Hey Zen family, I'm here at ZenCon 2016 with the one and only, the amazing Steve Boedt. So I wanted you to hear from him specifically because pro skills to me is like the most important training ever. I mean, you got to have B1, but without pro skills you are not complete in any way as an instructor. It's critical to you. So I want you to hear some things from him about why you should go to them. But I want you to know more about his background and why he does what he does. So, when did you come to Zumba?
I was working in the fitness industry for a long time, 15 years. Zumba became a big hit in Belgium, so I had my own studio and I sent it out to instructors to go and take the Zumba training, the basic one. I didn't want to do it at that time because I was already teaching a lot of classes. Loved it, but I was not planning to teach it. And then step by step, you know, we needed a replacement, an instructor got sick, so I took my basic one, got so inspired, taught my first Zumba class, and in that first Zumba class, I could feel the energy exploding with so many simple things. You know, in the fitness industry, we always have to complicate it a little bit or challenge the people before we get a positive feedback.
Right.
And with Zumba, it was all about just creating that party-like atmosphere and the party-like energy. And for me, that was it. I said, okay, this is what I've been missing. That's what I'm gonna be doing. So that's how I rolled in it. Yeah.
So what drew you into the rhythms? Because like, you know, I'm in Texas, so I hear the Latin rhythms anywhere I go to the grocery store and it's playing in the grocery store.
Got
but
it.
being in
Got
Europe,
it. Yeah.
it's not as common there.
No.
So what was it about that made you go, I like this and I've got to be part of it?
Well, it's the variety of everything, because every single rhythm, for me, it represents a different country. So I don't always talk about this is that rhythm, but if you talk to the people more, this is like a trip around the world that you're taking. For them, it sounds very exotic. And we do some European rhythms as well. We got an Irish dance and some Eastern European rhythms. And they also love it, but because for us, Latin rhythms sound so exotic. For them, it's always like a summer party. So
So originally, I know I've heard your story. You were not originally planning to get into the fitness industry. You were planning to go to cooking school and be a chef.
Yeah, I did.
And then what happened?
I did my cooking school. I got my degree. My life was getting started when I was 19. They said, okay, this is it. You choose to be a chef. That's what you're gonna do for the rest of your life, because working is something that you're not very passionate about, or not something that you like to do. That's what I thought work was.
Right.
I always thought, okay, work is something you just do for the rest of your life. You get up in the morning, you don't like to go to your work. That was my life. Lost my mom when I was 19. I was gonna start cooking 2 months later, and it made me realize, I said, you know what, there's only one person that chooses your life, and it's you. So I said, you know what, I am 19, I can choose whatever I want to do. And I went up to my dad and I said, I want to be a dancer. And he said, you're not going to be a dancer. I said, yeah, I will. This is what I want to dance, but more in sports. And so I started teaching fitness classes. That's how I got rolled into it. And it was a small seed at that day. I'm gonna do it, and it became a big tree years later. So it takes time, but everybody can do it. You just need to learn to take that first step, whether it's taking a training, whether it's anything you need to do to push yourself in that right direction.
And it's amazing because I've seen some of your older stuff.
Oh God, no!
No, it's back.
You still have a tape player or a DVD?
Before, back when you were doing step aerobic stuff, there's
VHS.
videos on YouTube of it, and I was like, I would hurt myself if I tried to do that because you were flying across the board, like crazy moves. It's like, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So funny thing I bet you must know is that Cass Martin's mom used to be a step aerobics trainer, and she talked Cass into taking over her class. And when she went to tell Cass, hey, here's his DVDs, learn this stuff. It was Steve on the DVD, so she was learning from him back before.
She was trying to convince Cass to become a fitness instructor with my DVDs. It didn't work. And then years later, Cass brings her mom and says, this is Steve. And she goes, I know you. you're the guy from my DVD. So small world.
It all comes back together. So what made you decide to take the next step and apply to become a ZES?
To be honest, I was a little bit lucky because I was working with Joy Smith. She was my B1 trainer. And she said, look, I know you from the fitness world. I know you from Nike. I think that Zumba would love to hear your story and they would love to work with you. So I contacted Zumba. They said, look, we're open for ZES applications. Send us some of your stuff. Went through the whole audition, sent all my applications. Went to Paris, did my first audition, and that's how it all got started.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so what now, since you had fitness industry before, how do you think that becoming a ZES changed you as an instructor? Because there's a whole Zumba mentality you get into to present. How do you think it made you change?
For me now, what I do a lot is mental coaching. In my Zumba classes, and even when I teach my trainings, a lot of people come into your Zumba class or a fitness class with different reasons, and most of them are not physical. They come to a Zumba class for the party, they come to a Zumba class with their friends. It's all mental reasons, or emotional reasons. Let me say that, mental reasons sounds a little cuckoo. And it made me realize, wait a minute, if people are coming for that reason, we should train our trainers to give them that. So instead of always training people physically, we train people emotionally. We train the soul, as I say. And that's a huge difference between my former, how do you say that?
Formats?
No, my former life as a fitness instructor. I'm sorry, my English is not my first language, where it's all about training the body.
Right.
Physical, what do you do, why do we do this? And with Zumba it's like, you know what, if they don't do the right rhythm for the step, but they got a smile, they will go home and that smile will live on for days.
Right.
So yeah, that's the huge difference that I see.
So Pro Skills is seriously the best training. I've taken it twice. I'm planning to take it a third time. Every time I've taken it, I've gone back to my classes and people are like, what happened? You're different.
Really? Awesome.
You're
I like
better,
that.
but it's like instant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then taking the second time, then you really catch on so much more. And now I'm dying to take it a third time because I know it'll just go even further.
Awesome.
So why did you decide to push that forward and introduce it to Zumba?
You know, we were talking with the education department and there were some ideas about a next training, and we were talking about basic 3. And then I said, you know what, I don't think people need to learn new rhythms.
Right.
You can learn that fast. You can learn that on e-learning, and that's what they're doing now. I think we need to focus more on the mental training of instructors. So when are you a performer, how do you create energy? But before you can do that, you need to have the skills to make sure that everybody's doing the correct moves. So I said there's 2 ways that we can train people: being an educator with different cueing skills, being a performer where you create energy, where you relax people, where you learn to connect. So skills that you don't really learn in any other training. It's literally 20 years of experience pressed in one day.
It is.
It's not physics, it's not mathematics, because I'm terrible at that. So what we teach you are all very easy, simple facts that you can use the next day. You don't need to memorize choreography, all small tools that will make your class better.
And like you said in there before, it's stuff you could go on the internet. You can probably go figure it all out on your own. It would take you forever to figure it out.
True.
It's presented in such a common sense way. You're like, why wasn't I even thinking that to begin with?
Exactly.
But it does change you.
Exactly.
So everybody should take Pro Skills. What would you, new instructors who take a B1, what would you recommend to them a length of time to wait before they go into do Pro Skills?
It's not the amount of before they go to Pro Skills, it's how long they've been teaching. So some people start teaching after 2 months, or some people start right away, some people need a half a year. Take your time. Nobody pressures you. You decide whenever you want to say, okay, I am ready to teach. This is what I think is the best way to do it. After your B1, you concentrate on one single song. Because you know, it's almost like they ask you to prepare a whole meal and you say, you know what, I wish I could just concentrate on one dish. Would be easier and better. Do one song, concentrate, learn how to teach one song, then ask your friend instructor to teach that one song. So you have the experience of one song, you know how to cue, you know how to do it. And then 6 months later, go to a pro skills. A lot of people say, oh, pro skills should be mandatory after basic one. But I think it's too much information. We talk about, do you know in your class when you do this or that? So you need some experience before you can take pro skills.
I've had new instructors that they had taken B1, and I've welcomed them into the family, and I've always told them, as soon as you feel comfortable in front of a room full of people, you've got the confidence, go take pro skills. It'll take you 10 steps higher easily.
Perfect.
What do you recommend to new instructors to help find their own style? Because everybody's so different. I mean, it's like, where do you go to find instead of just mimicking somebody else?
Don't get intimidated by anybody else.
No.
When I teach, and I know somebody's teaching in front before me, I never go 10 minutes before my class into that class to see how amazing it is.
Nope.
I know they're great. I don't want to see it. I want to see it later, no problem. I protect myself from things that would make me insecure. So I get rid of a lot of insecurity, so I go, hey, wait a minute, what I do is good enough. And we want variety, we want different people teaching. We don't say, this is the way you teach Zumba. We say, these are the rules, now make them your own. So these are the things that we really want people to do. Go find your own identity. I have an amazing friend who's a Zess. She teaches completely different than all the other Zesses. And I go to her sessions to learn the way she moves and connects. Find your style, keep the basic rules from Zumba, follow formula, do the rhythms you have to do, but make them your own. You have to learn how to teach like you, like nobody else.
And part of that is also your playlist kind of dictates who you are in class.
Oh yeah.
What are things that you do to set your playlist? What are your kind of personal rules for how you set your playlist up for your classes?
I gotta love every single song.
You can't fake it.
No, but still there's
people
a lot
can see it.
Yeah, sometimes I go like, when I hear people starting their class, they go like, oh, I have a new salsa song, I hope you're gonna like it. When I have a new song, I go like, I got a new salsa song, you're gonna love it. That's already 60% of it. You don't set them up, you don't give them the option. I hope you're gonna love, you show them your passion. You gotta love the songs, and then of course you gotta always remember your four basic rhythms. You can mix a lot, you can do a lot of rhythm fusions, which is fine. Make sure they're all world, Latin or world rhythms.
Yes.
You get one song extra that you can do, which is not a Latin or world rhythm. But for me, the most important thing is all about loving your music.
Yeah.
And people only look at the intensity of the song. They say, oh, this is high intensity, low, high, low, intermittent training. But you also gotta look at the energy of the song.
Yes.
Because sometimes you need that strong energy, sometimes you need a loving energy or a happy energy, different energies. That's what I work with as well.
Yeah, because sometimes a slower song can be more intense.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
the emotion you put into it and the movements. And
Absolutely,
everything. So
absolutely. I have a lot of cumbias and I'm dead after that cumbia.
So you gravitate a lot towards pop music that was popular when you were young, just like I do.
Yeah.
And so, what is something, a rhythm that people can expect? Because people don't expect like Queen of Pop, King of Pop, a lot of stuff that you can draw into.
Yeah.
Is there any other rhythm people can expect to get when they come to your master classes that we don't expect, or what's something you're drawn to that you haven't really played into very deeply yet?
Ooh, you got me thinking there. I gotta think about that one.
Or is there something that you really love that you have not had a chance to explore very much yet? Like for me, Bhangra, I love Bhangra, but the movements are very different.
Very, very much.
And so I've got to go play with it more so I can get comfortable with it.
Got it. You know, every single rhythm that we do, when I teach my Zumba class and I do a salsa song, I always got the salsa dancers giving me the angry eye. Because for them, that's not salsa.
Yes.
Or when I do samba, I got the Brazilians looking at me like we do it different. So we take all the different rhythms, but we break them much more easier down. So we gotta bring them down to a level. I like all rhythms. I don't have a specific rhythm that I like more than any other. But what I would love to do maybe in the future is talk about songs and energy instead of intensity.
Right.
So to say,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
now I want you to express this emotion in this song, this emotion in that song, that emotion in this. So talking about more emotions, and I
Yeah.
think that would be a cool session.
So
So
telling a story in the
who
class.
knows, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Where do you typically go to find inspiration when you're trying to commit to create new things?
Regular classes, sitting in the car, listening to the music, watching a musical, watching a movie, I get inspiration all the time. And from Cass,
Oh yeah.
she's kind of crazy.
She's crazy.
She's always moving, always dancing. So we always work together, but we really, when we come up with a new choreography or a dance, we literally sit down, we break it down. How do we cue that move? Is that a good transition?
Right.
We really talk about every single move in a choreography, yeah.
Yeah. So you're traveling the world nonstop. You're everywhere. You've got an intense schedule sometimes whenever you're not taking a short break. How do you avoid burnout? What do you do to keep from hitting that point?
I was just gonna say something, but I cannot say it on the camera, so what do we do? It's not too bad, to be honest. I think a burnout, you get it faster when you keep forcing yourself to do something you don't love.
Yeah.
So it's still with a lot of love, so I don't feel, the only problem that I have is physical fatigue. That's the only thing that could get there, that I go, okay, now I need to take a break. And I'm not the youngest anymore, I'm only 22, but...
No, because I remember 2 years ago, I was at your master class
Oof.
here, and you were pushing yourself, and
Yeah.
you had to keep stopping and stretching your leg, and I
Yeah.
could see his calf muscle from in the crowd. I could see it just like throbbing,
Yeah.
and he had to like stumble out and go get help.
Aliens.
So that was bizarre, but
But that was pure physical fatigue.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta eat healthy, you gotta
Yeah.
make sure you get all your vitamins, your minerals, your proteins, sleep. And you know, sometimes people say, what do you do on a Sunday when you're free? Well, it's never a Sunday, but a Monday for me. I sleep till 11, I go get croissants, I go back to my room, put on the TV, watch TLC. I mean, how desperate have you to be watch TLC? Sit there, enjoy it, relax.
Right.
So we're just regular people. We love our lazy days.
yes.
So for me, just the regular stuff and going with my friends, watching a movie. I'm going on a holiday next week for 14 days.
Nice.
First time in 7 years
Wow.
where I'm taking a complete break. Literally pool, bed, and food.
And so
Well,
yeah,
some other stuff, but I
follow
can't
him
say
on
that
social
again.
media because the pictures of the food, it's
Yeah?
it's insane, and you would never know he eats all these things.
Oh
So
my God, I eat for 20 and Cass eats for 25.
When you make Cass eat 425.
Yeah, but
Whenever she's
even
in
if I
Europe,
wouldn't push her,
you
she
post
does
the
it.
pictures of what she's eating. She's like, I
Crazy.
gained 20 pounds when I travel with Steve all the time.
That's what she says when she travels. She blames it on me.
So you've seen a lot of instructors in different styles of teaching. If you could give advice just in general to the whole population of one thing that most people can fix to make things so much better for them, what would you say?
If I could only choose one, I would say what I always say in my pro skills is don't judge when you don't know the facts.
Yes.
Because a lot of people are very insecure, a lot of instructors are very insecure, so they screen for negative energy. We don't think about it, but we do.
Yeah.
So everything that happens in your class, somebody walking away, looking at their clock, talking to their friends, we translate it because of our insecurity into a negative story. And that is really something that we shouldn't be doing because we don't know the facts. We don't know why they're
true.
talking. And if you go get the facts, you will find out that it's a different story. So we hurt ourselves much more than what we should. We go home and we got a story about somebody in the class. A big story that we tell our friends. I have this woman in my class and she did that. And that woman didn't even speak. She didn't say a word, but we know a big story about her. So we're using people to translate our insecurity into a negative story, and we shouldn't do that.
I did that with one of my classes. It's a later class, and the person before me always starts late, so I can never start on time, so my class is running over the time. It's the last class of the day. The Children's Center closes at 8 p.m.
Okay.
And so my class is ending at 8:05. People are all walking out for the cool down, and I'm like, is this song terrible? What's going on? And then finally I asked the girls, I'm like, and I said, I make a speech every once in a while in front of my class to tell people, hey, if you need to leave early, it's totally fine. Just make sure you take your last song down and go outside and stretch for a few seconds so they get a proper cool down. And I asked somebody about that, and she said, oh, the kids club closes at 8, and we have to get there and we get penalized. I'm like, that's why.
Once you get the facts, you find out it's another story, and it's not you.
And you just wave to them and say, bye, I'll see you next week.
Yeah,
and be happy with it.
Awesome.
So anyway, so this is Steve Boedt. You've got to get to Pro Skills. If you ever get a chance to take it with him, it's incredible. It's a great experience. And if you go to convention, take the power of connecting and changing lives with him and Cass, because to me, it really is like a Pro Skills boost training.
Yeah.
It just takes everything you learn there and it takes it so much deeper, and it makes you think so much more about the class, and it gives you that connection that you want.
You just gave me a good idea.
And there we go. Boost training. Yay! So that's it. Thanks for watching. Get to a Pro Skills, get to a jam session, inspire yourself, and keep growing and never stop learning. Thanks. See you guys soon.
Bye. See ya. And you know what my problem is, what I see in instructors, is that they think being an instructor is all about the movement. And it's not true.
It's not true.
You gotta learn to not teach and motivate people and touch them in a way. So, and there's actually a good example coming up on Zin 64. There's a song, American Sweetheart, that Cass and I do. And there's 4 times a bridge where Cass did a complicated move. And I said, you know what, let's try something. Let's just do step touches and stand still and do this. And everybody starts clapping, and it's like the highlight of the choreography, and we do nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No dance step, no screaming, no jumping. All we do is da, 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 and we do this with our hands.
And they do the rest of the work.
And everybody starts creating energy.
Yeah.
So bizarre.
Yeah.
So bizarre.